Wait for it. There it is.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of our Innovate HPE MOOC. We're glad you're with us tonight. I'm Todd Bedard, the past president of Pennsylvania Hayford. With us tonight is Jessica Bocconi-Cook, our executive director. She's the co-host of the MOOC this season. And we also have with us tonight a very special guest. She comes to us from Conestoga Valley School District. She's a top-end educator in health education. I remember getting to see her speak at Boyertown and some other conferences when I was a lot younger, and she's always been on the cutting edge of health education. And when I was kind of investigating guests for this, it seemed like a no-brainer to have her be our first health education guest. So we'd like to welcome tonight Annette Fecera. Annette, and tell us a little bit about you.
Thanks for having me. I'm very delighted to be here. A little bit about my background. I graduated from Westchester with my bachelor's and master's in school health. And then I just recently earned my doctorate from Immaculata in education administration. I've been teaching for 15 years. All but one of those years have been at Conestoga Valley. And actually the last 10 years I've been teaching just primarily health. And actually, I'm the only health teacher now in the high school, so I see every single student has to come through, take my class, pass my class, which is really awesome that I get to see every single kid because very few teachers have the ability to see the entire school at some point. Also, the VP of Health for PS Hayford, and recently took a position with Dove, like the soap, cadre for their self-esteem program. It's called Confident Me, to help to improve the self-esteem of youth across the country. So it's been really exciting working with them as well.
Okay, there we go. So Annette, I know, you have to be super busy. You have a little one at home. So we do want to thank you again for taking time late at night to join us and share what you know. When Todd was doing his homework on you, we kind of learned that you weren't using textbooks in your classes. Can you kind of explain your reasoning for that, how you came to that decision and how your district responded when you posed that to them?
Well, I think my district was really happy because that means there's no cost to them. So they're related to not deal with textbooks. But for me, I just think health is always changing. And if you want to be on the cutting edge, if you want to, be with the students with dealing with the issues that are today, a textbook would just be outdated, at least in my opinion. By the time it gets written, gets printed, you get it into your classroom, many of those things aren't true anymore. So I decided that I want to take control of my classroom and with my students, because what my students need at Conestoga Valley might not be what students need somewhere else in the county, in the state, or even in the country. So for me, I'd rather look at things like the CDC's Youth Risk Behavior Survey, because you can look at the data for your own district, for your own area, and I can see what the needs are for my students. So to me, that is much more beneficial than having a textbook that has information that might not even be relevant to what's going on in today. I think about, for example, drugs. Right now in our area, we have the problem with opioids and narcotics, and other places across the country don't have that issue. They're dealing with, if you go out west, more methamphetamine. So, for me, I don't think a textbook really works for us and works for my teaching style.
Were your students kind of surprised? Do you think that was something that they really even picked up on? The fact that they were coming in and it was one less book that they had to, go get from their locker or carry around in their book bag?
You know what? They're really happy. And I go through that whole spiel with them the first day. Hey guys, you don't have a textbook. So that's the great news. Of course, that's a lot more work on my end, but to me, it's worth it because, the end result is to have our students live a healthy lifestyle. And, like I said, like what they're dealing with in Lancaster County is not necessarily what other places are dealing with. So they're more than happy not to have it. And I'm glad that I don't have to use one.
I think too, that's part of being a good teacher, is knowing that sometimes the road that is a little bit more work for you, but worth it for the students is the path that you have to take. So I applaud your efforts for doing that. I think that's fantastic. And I think, it really keeps you on your toes as a teacher to stay on top of everything that's happening. Because like you said, it is constantly changing. It's never the same from year to year or even from county to county.
And to me, I think it's sad that some schools use some of these textbooks. I've heard of schools using health textbooks from the 90s or early 2000s. And I think, health, the topics that we deal with in health are nowhere near the same, 15, 20 years later. So to me, that's doing a disservice to our students.
How much of the time when you're spending with your students, Annette, are you having them seek out some of the content too? I mean, I know it's a lot of work on your end to seek out like the correct content and to steer them the right way. But how much of the time are you spending in your schools? Student centered is a big deal right now, and it's really kind of, I don't want to say a buzzword because buzzword means it'll go away soon, but it's really how school should be. How much are you having them find content for you, or utilize that in your classrooms? And can you give us some ideas on what you're doing with them?
Yeah, so we at Conestoga Valley, we're a one-to-one school. So luckily our students have laptops, so it's easy for them to access information. We do it pretty regularly. For example, I have my students do current events on any health topic. It has to be current though, and by current I tell them within the last 2 months. So we want them to be really, really current. And they have to actually seek out the information, and then they write about it and write their own opinion. And it's really interesting because when you allow students to go find health information of things that they're actually interested in, I rarely have too many issues with them completing the assignment, even though it's a written paper. Because I think many times when people think of health, they think of just eat right and exercise. And of course, we know that there are two big things and they're extremely important, but there's so much more that encompasses health, our mental well-being, our emotional well-being. So students are able to find topics that are relevant to their own home lives and maybe things that they're going through or just things that they're interested in.
Mm-hmm. I know a lot of the research and the stats are across the nation are showing that students are having some emotional issues more than they were ever before. I mean, there's some preliminary research on it with 2008, the advent of the iPhone, kind of where this started to go up. Are you seeing a lot of kids when they are doing their research that are going that direction, that are focused on support?
I'm sorry, you cut off there at the end. I missed the end of your question.
Are you finding that a lot of kids are looking at some of the topics that they're seeking out are related to mental health support, or is it kind of just the same as it's always been in terms of what they pick?
No, I've seen a lot more mental health issues. That has been really a hot topic, especially when we talk about depression, anxiety. Those are usually some of the top research that they're doing, as well as, interesting enough is some of it is on, I find, cancer. And I think it's because, I know it's because a lot of it, their families have been touched with it, whether it be their parents or grandparents. So they kind of want to do more research, and this gives them the chance to do so. I actually find a lot of students seeking information about like the transgender community. I found that a lot more within the last year or so. Students seem to be interested in that topic as well. But mostly we're talking about mental health issues that they're really trying to investigate. And, when they write their opinions about the piece, it's interesting to me how open they are and how much they tell me about what's going on in their life and why these type of things are important to them. And, it gives them the chance, kind of like a forum, to actually open up without actually having to sit one-on-one with somebody and have that conversation. So it allows them to put that out there. And then, of course, I seek them out and have conversations with them and their guidance counselors. But I can't tell you, countless times have we actually found students suffering from mental health that sought treatment after just writing about it. So that's been very helpful too, I think, for them.
Do you think, but Todd, you could probably answer this question too, because you're both currently in a school now. I feel like it's been forever since I've been in one, and it's just been since last January. But do you both think that it's becoming easier for students to talk about this, that, it's not such, I hate to use the word stigma, but I think there was a perceived stigma with it before that maybe it was kind of pushed under the rug and people just, didn't want to talk about it. Is it becoming something that's more out in the open for this age group now?
I'll say from my school for sure, there was a stigma before, and we're seeing more and more that it's not. And honestly, I think it's because teachers are, it's kind of a whole, we're doing a whole community thing. I think teachers are more aware of it. They're reaching out to kids in a different way than they did before. We're reaching out to families. We even started something at our school where we brought in a psychology practice and gave them a space in our school, because what we were learning from our community is some of the reasons that people weren't seeking out treatment for mental health disorders was related to transportation, was related to availability. So we're saying, well, now we don't have to pull kids out of school. We can go to school and give them a space for treatment. I don't know if Annette, you're seeing something similar.
Yeah, we actually have a similar program at Conestoga Valley where we bring in a psychologist. We have a school psychologist, but we have another counselor comes in besides our regular guidance counselor to work directly with some students. Because once again, like you said, that lack of transportation or ability to afford those type of services, students seem to be much more open about it. Like you said, there's just they're not embarrassed to talk about it because they know that so many people are being affected by it. So many of their friends, their own family members. So I definitely think that stigma has been removed.
So I'm going to switch gears a little bit. When I was doing some research to get ready for tonight, I found an article about you in the Lancaster newspaper. It's from 2012. When you were Teacher of the Year for the Pennsylvania State Association for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance. And it talked about a course that you wrote in health curriculum, Exploration of Health Careers. And that fascinated me. Can you tell me a little bit about what you cover and how students are connecting to the community and kind of what that's about?
Yeah, so like I said, our juniors are required to take and pass my course in order to graduate. However, I didn't feel that having one course in health for their entire high school career was sufficient. And there was a lot of students who were still really interested in learning more. So I approached my supervisor and eventually to the school board to get a class called Health Seminar for seniors who were interested in the health field. And so we explore many topics, but one of them is we look at careers, and I actually bring in some community members to come in and talk directly about their own expertise, their own field, the kind of things that they would see and experience. We've had some really cool presenters. I had an orthopedic surgeon come in. He showed the kids his own video of him doing knee and hip surgery. I had an ophthalmologist come in. He showed LASIK eye surgery to the kids. I had a dermatologist come in, show skin cancer and mold removal. So they've had a lot of opportunities to see different types of medical careers. And then we actually did a field trip to our local hospital, Lancaster General, and students were actually paired up with a medical professional that they were interested in, whether some sort of nurse, physician, whatever it may be. And they got to follow them around for the entire day. Some of them actually got to sit in on surgery. Unfortunately, in the last 2 years, with the changes in our schedule, we've had to eliminate the electives in health and phys ed just because, once again, I'm the only health teacher. And so to keep our numbers at a certain level, we had to with scheduling, and I've taken on a cyber school program as well to get that into my schedule. So we haven't had it for the last 2 years. However, I hope it comes back in the near future again. It's one of those, I think administration can tell you one of the things that they hate the most is scheduling. And so it caused a conflict because it was a marking period course versus a semester course. So to alleviate that headache, for the last 2 years, we removed it. But hopefully, like I said, it'll come back soon. But it was a really cool thing for our students to experience.
I think that is tough. I know administrators are faced with so many challenges when it comes to trying to fit everything into the schedule. But the thing that I love about listening to you talk is it didn't defer anything that you're doing outside of that. Sometimes people get bogged down in the situation, like, you've worked so hard, you got this course created. Well, whatever, I'm just going to do the bare minimum. And it's just that kind of innovating inside the box. You're still doing creative, innovative, relevant things for your students, despite the challenges and the adversities that are thrown at you with scheduling and classes being cut.
And some of those things, you know, I still bring the dermatologist into my regular health class because so many of our kids do experience skin cancer at a young age. We know that's a young person issue. Some of the other ones just weren't relevant to just the general population any longer. So we did carry on some of those careers into just our regular health class, but unfortunately couldn't carry them all over.
Yeah, well, that's an amazing idea that you had in the first place, and what an opportunity for those students that were able to be a part of that. I love Randy Nichols' college career and Life Ready, that he is always harping on and what they're teaching their students at Slippery Rock. And I mean, you never know when what you provide and the opportunities within a school are going to be the springboard for that student to, you know, really flourish into the rest of their life. So that's an amazing opportunity. One of the other things Todd found in his research, borderline stalking. That's what he does for all of our guests. Just kidding. He's cool. He's cool.
When I retire, I'm going to be a private investigator. That's what I'm practicing now.
You're great at it.
Practice makes permanent.
Yeah.
So we know that you're doing a lot to connect your school wellness councils to your health curriculum. How did you kind of come to the idea to do that, and how are you actually executing that?
You know, I did not think that we had a great wellness policy on paper. And I don't want to undermine anything that anybody did previously. It's great. However, I'm not sure that it was all being completely followed and implemented. And then I went to actually a local conference where one of the other schools in our county had this really cool student health council idea. And I thought, this is fantastic. And so I sort of stole it from them. I want to give them props. It was Garden Spot High School that I heard about. So, and I got to talk to them a little bit there. And so this year, Matt Trout and I wrote a grant and earned some monies to start the Student Health Council. What we did is we asked all of the phys ed teachers from 8th grade on up to give us the name of 15 students. There are 15 students that we thought would be really interested in school wellness. So, you know, do not have to be the most academic students, the most athletic students, just students that we know might be interested in school wellness. And so once we got those 15 names, I sent out a letter, school letterhead, like, congratulations, you've been chosen one of only 15 students in each grade to join this. And what we're doing, we've had 2 meetings so far this year. We're getting started. Is we're coming up with ideas to improve the wellness, not only of our students and our staff, but of the community as a whole. So that's our mission, is to improve CV community health and wellness. One thing that we are doing, we're doing a color run coming up here in April. So that should be super exciting because we don't want people to not enjoy running. So, hey, what's a good way to get out there and get some exercise? You know, you don't have to be the best runner. We're not going to time you, and it could be a lot of fun. The students have been brainstorming other ideas too of things that they want to do, such as start a school garden. They want to do some on the announcements. They want to do a health check. So every day have the students get up and do some form of exercise, everybody whole school wide, 5 days a week, just for a few minutes because we have daily announcements that are videoed. They have some mental health ideas that they want to implement. So I think once you give that power to the students and you allow them to come up with ideas that they think is best for their classmates, it really allows us to connect with them and do things that, hey, this would be interesting for, hey, let's try this. Because we always want, you know, our kids to grow up being interested in health and wellness and, you know, find things that they like. And so if it's not forced upon them and it's things that they actually enjoy, so we really hope that the Student Health Council takes off. And right now we have in the vicinity of about 50 members. So, wow. And we're meeting, like I said, we just started, but we're meeting every 2 weeks. We have like a flex period built in, and then we'll start meeting a couple times before school just to get it underway. I mean, anytime you start any type of organization or club, it takes a little bit, but we already have some ideas and things that we're doing already. So
that's amazing.
That reminds me of there was just hearing the kids coming up with ideas. It reminds me of, there was an article, you may have seen this, that this kid revealed himself after 4 years. He ended up being the valedictorian of the school district out somewhere out in the Midwest. And every day he would get on Twitter and he would tweet about some kid in the school about how wonderful they were and so on and so forth. And it just really took off, and it was, nobody could figure out who it was and blah, blah, blah. And it turned into something. And now it's been borrowed at least 15 or 16 different times in different schools. But I wondered, have your kids thought of anything like that in terms of just like a positive culture creating type of thing? Or any other ideas that they may be on the brainstorm list?
Absolutely. One of the things they brainstorm, and you might have seen this in other schools, I've seen this done before, but the kids actually came up with this, is let's get together, let's write positive notes, especially during exam time, keystone testing time. Come into school early in the morning. Let's just post them on the bathroom mirrors, throughout the school, completely anonymous. Let's not take any credit for it. Simple things like you are enough, you are beautiful, you're going to do great today, things like that. So that was one idea that they came up with about just trying to improve self-esteem and confidence and making everybody feel good. And the one part I liked about it is they didn't want to take credit for it. They didn't want to, hey, let's just tell everybody we're going to do this. They want to do it completely secretively, and let's not let anybody know it's us that's going to do this. So I don't know if you guys seen that idea before, but I thought it was.
That's super cool. I've heard of things like that, but I've not seen it done like that, where it was actually done with pen and paper and things like that. So that's super cool. That's really awesome.
That is. Annette, what's the counterpart, like the rest of the wellness council there? Do you have one that's staffed with teachers and administrators?
We do. So we have our school wellness, which is our school board member, administrator, parent. That one is the one that we're connecting with our student health council. There is a component in there about nutrition education and the things that need to be taught in nutrition education and who's teaching it. But then we also have a staff wellness, which is really interesting and very, very active. Every staff member pays $5 to be part of it. They keep track of their exercise logs. And at the end of the year, based upon numbers, they can pick certain prizes. But it's much more than that. We get monthly newsletters about some type of health or wellness. I know that I did skinfold calibers on staff members who were interested to see how much body fat they've lost. Let's see, we've had exercise classes that our staff members have run. Our district has actually allowed us every 2 years to run just a wellness day for half the day. So all staff members sign up for different exercise classes and are exposed to that. So we actually have 2 different wellness programs. We have one for staff and then one for our students.
And you've organized a whole big wellness fair in your district. Was that last year that was the first year?
Last year, yeah. Last year, I did a community wellness fair that I organized where I brought in all types of, I forget how many, we had somewhere around 25 or 30 different local organizations came in, anything from free chiropractic check to free massages. I had pet therapy dogs there, all kinds of interesting things. And then while that was going on, I had 5 different courses, like exercise classes, anything from CrossFit, spin class, body pump class going on. I had the family consumer science teacher do about healthy cooking. So it was really a
awesome
2.5 to 3 hour event where in the gym we had all of these businesses set up that they could go in and learn about mental health, physical health, a lot of freebies there, as well as learn how to cook healthy, as well as, hey, try a new exercise course, anything. And we even had one for kids. So even elementary kids, we had a room set up where our elementary phys ed teacher led exercise courses. So it was really just to expose our community members to all of these great health and wellness opportunities that are right in our community.
That's awesome. It's so important to help community see how to do things. And I love the cooking piece because I think that's the barrier I think that people run into most. But then we get used to how cool that you do that. Next, yes. Hey, so I noticed when I was doing my research, I I noticed that you're working with the Dove Self-Esteem Project, which was, tell me how you got, tell us about that. How did you connect with Dove, making into communities, and anything else you can tell us about that? That seemed really, really cool.
So actually, Dove was looking for some cadres nationwide for this program, and somebody happened to send me the information and said, "Hey, I think you would be good for this." And so last year they chose 17 of us nationwide to actually start the program. Now the program's been going on for a very long time, but it was worldwide. It was mostly you saw in European nations. And so they recently just brought it to the United States. And so we actually initiated the program here. And I got to go out and talk to many different conferences, many different educators about it. It's a free, absolutely free program trying to help the self-esteem and body confidence of our young people. It's Dove's social mission, like the soap. But it is their social mission. So people ask all the time, well, do you get free soap? No, I don't get free soap. It has nothing to do with it. It's their social mission. If you've ever seen the Dove commercials of the females of all different body types and feeling good about themselves, we want people to be healthy. We absolutely want them to be healthy. However, we also want them to realize that everybody's body type is different, and we want you to feel good about it, because we know when students feel good about their bodies, they're going to do better academically, behaviorally. And unfortunately, there's so much pressure today, so many different messages that they're getting about appearance ideals from the media, about what they should look like. And this program allows them to confront those comparisons and learn how to banish body talk and learn how to advocate. And like I said, the program is completely free. So I give you all the curricular materials, assessments, PowerPoints. If you've ever seen any of Dove's videos before, they're very powerful about photoshopping, the amount of photoshopping that goes in. So right now, the program has reached just over 20 million young people worldwide.
Wow.
So it's really great. We just brought on some more cadres. So we're about 25 of us now nationwide. I was just in Arizona last month for some more training. I'm heading to the SHAPE Eastern District Conference in Vermont in a few weeks to present there on the program and exhibit. So if anybody's interested in the program, want to learn more about it, please email me. Like I said, it's completely free. I'll be more than happy to come out and, train your staff about how to implement it, no cost to them. So it's a really, really great program. That's what I love about it is that it is free. They're not trying to sell you anything. They really just want to help improve the body image and self-confidence level of our kids.
That's an amazing program.
And as women, sometimes as a guy, it's hard to relate completely, but as women and with the girls that you work with, do you see and feel pressure because of these ads that they have this photoshopped image of women that isn't real and so on? Do you see that with the girls that you work with or your own friends even?
Absolutely, especially our young people. Now, this program is for young boys and girls. We know that some of the boys might feel not as much pressure as the girls, but many of our young men still do. So, the amount of things that I hear from our young women about, they might be very thin and say, "Oh, I'm so fat," or "I wish I looked like this person," or "I wish I had that person's name a body part." And you hear it from our young women and men today. So it's really disheartening to hear, especially because we know everybody's beautiful in their own way. And unfortunately, we allow the media to dictate to us what is beautiful and how we should look. And they get those messages all of the time. And 99% of our images are photoshopped. So I tell them, nobody actually looks like those magazine pictures.
Right.
Well,
even Instagram.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. That, Todd, I was just going to say that. Think of how the media has changed. I remember media to me when I was in high school was what you saw on TV. You know,
Right.
it was like AOL dial-up was just becoming the thing, so that, you know, the internet and that type of media really wasn't a big deal. And now it's the Instagram and the Snapchat, and that's why it's important. And I know people make the argument that we need to get rid of those and don't let kids on them at a certain age, but we need to teach literacy and how to use them and how to react to things. And that's even more important in another role that we as health and physical educators are taking on. So they're exposed to a lot more than they were, you know, and it's going to continue to be that. So giving students the skills to navigate through that and establish, you know, the confidence to, you know, form their own opinions about themselves is crucial.
And, you know, this is the age where we see eating disorders come on. You know, typically you see it in our young adolescents. So, I mean, it's more relevant than talking about body image and self-confidence than with this program. So I find it to be exceptionally done. It's all research-based, so it's not just you know, something that Dove put together. It's all completely research-based. It's been teacher tested. Like I said, it's been a worldwide program. So it's a really phenomenal thing that they're doing, and they're financially backing.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I mean, in the age of that is the new social mask, where we used to go to school and we just smile and act happy. Now it's about what image you portray on social media. I'm happy today, even though inside I'm dying or whatever. You're not feeling so good, and so on. So it's great that Dove has that, and it's great. Thank you for doing that. Jessica, you want to wrap us up?
Yeah, you know, we talked about how social media is kind of, you know, changed and ebbed and flows over the years. So how would you say, when you look at your teaching today, and when you look at your teaching when you started out, how have you kind of been on the front edge of innovation, and like, how would you compare yourself from when you first started teaching to what you've learned today?
I would say that it's okay to ask the students. You know, before, I think as a young professional, I wanted to be, you know, this is about me, and this is how we teach, and this is what you need to learn. And of course, you know, my lessons are big standards, but I think you need to be open to what, you know, what's going on with these students, what's going on in their lives. And so, you know, they tell me about social media and what's going on. And so, you know, we talk a lot about sexting in my classroom, because that's an issue that they're primarily dealing with. You know, I asked them, what type of technology are you guys using? I mean, I don't think there's an issue for them to teach me, you know, some of the, like, I don't have Snapchat. So, hey, show me Snapchat, show me how it works, you know, understand those type of things. But, you know, I remember even when I started 15 years ago, the students created videos. We had these little like flip videos, cameras that they would use. You know, whereas today they just use their phones, their iPads. They have all of these great tools in front of them that they're able to utilize so much easier. And I feel like less of my time in the classroom is actually teaching them how to use technology. I feel like they really have a grasp on, you know, software programs and things that they're doing. So I feel like less of my time in the classroom is that, and more of it's spent on how to properly use technology. So, you know, they know how to use it, they know how to navigate it, but now let's talk about, okay, what's safe, you know, especially with social media. You know, how do you responsibly find information, because they will just Google things and not realize that, hey, this is an incredible site. You know, other things that I do, now I upload all my lectures we use Schoology in my school district. So before, when something, you know, you have a substitute in for the day, what am I going to do with the sub? I can't, you know, lecture. And once again, I don't have books. So now I'm able to just upload my lectures. The kids go on their laptops, they can see my lectures, and then do whatever type of assignments or assessments that they have. You know, looking at learning styles, I think about, my students have the option. Everything that I do, they can either handwrite or they can electronically submit. So the students who are more techie and want to do things via computer, they have that option. Whereas I still have students that like pencil and paper. They want to take notes on pencil or paper, or, you know, so I I think that I've become a little bit more diverse in all of the things that I'm able to offer them just because we have so much technology. And I think really my teaching has changed. I just think that I've been able to build better relationships with the kids and really relate to them a lot more. I think as a young person, I was very wary about getting too close with our students, especially with our topics of drugs and sex. And I really think it comes down to building that relationship with them. Whereas before I would never say, hey, tell me about Snapchat. What goes on in Snapchat? How's this work? Now I have no qualms about doing any of that because I know if I'm going to be the best teacher, I need to know what's going on in their lives, what kind of things they need to know, and what they're dealing with.
Right. I love that you said relationships because it really is the foundation to everything we do. I mean, education in and of itself is the people business. So
right.
much. Well, Annette, thank you so much for being with us tonight and making this MOOC fantastic. You're an amazing person, and all the things that you're doing in health education. I mean, kids are lucky to have you. We at PSA are lucky to have you, and Jessica and I are thankful that we got to spend the evening with you and learn and for a couple days too. So I get to learn a lot. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, yeah, it was great, and I really, like I said, I really appreciate you being here. And if you want to get in touch with Annette about the Dove product, it's Annette_Fecera at ConostagaValley.org. In the description once we finalize this broadcast, so you'll see it on you'll see it on YouTube, and you can also catch her Twitter, which is right in the description of this tonight. And next week on episode 3, we will be meeting with Liz Burkhart, who is a EDA Teacher of the Year and was a finalist for National Teacher of the Year last year at the secondary level. She'll be talking about innovative things in secondary physical education, and we're looking forward to her as well. We did email the blog topics. I'll also stick the blog topics from today's episode in the description. So we'd love for you to blog. We'd love for you to discuss what's going on. Tell us what's going on in your school. If something Annette said tonight resonated with you, you can write your own blog, or you can take one of the topics that we provide and then tweet that or post that to the hashtag on Facebook, InnovateHPE. We'd love to hear from you and see what's going on in your worlds as well, so we can all learn. Because as my friend George Curro says, the smartest person in the room is in fact the room. So Annette, thanks so much again. And Jessica, thanks for being with us and hosting again tonight.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.